That's a big edit.
It's called a 180.
Grazing regulations are the latest battle in a larger war, one between science and public policy. A number of government science programs are on a collision course with the political priorities of the Bush administration. It's a battle where, insiders say, politically inconvenient facts and research are often ignored, altered, or suppressed.
Did you write the part that says there will be, I'm quoting here, no impact on water resources?
Absolutely not. From what I read to what came out in the draft EIS is the difference between night and day.
When Brooks, the only hydrologist on the study, submitted his draft raising an alarm about additional pollution to streams from cattle grazing, he says he was removed from the project. The report's final conclusions on water quality, he says, were the opposite of what he had written.
Your name is on that report.
And that's the sticker, because I feel like it impugns my character, my professionalism, and it's a defamation of my personal and professional character. It's unacceptable.
All the science that they extracted from my narrative was peer-reviewed science. This was not gray literature. It wasn't from some farmer's journal in, Ely, Nevada. This was peer-reviewed science in major journals.
The BLM says the rewrites were done by other agency specialists and that the changes were based on good science.
Show me the science. Show me the science. And that's one of the things that's typical of this administration. If you come up and make some kind of pronouncement, about science, they're going to say it's flawed. It's flawed science. It wasn't a good study.
Don't you think someone sitting at home could say, well, it's easy for this guy to talk bad about the administration. He likes birds. He's a greenie. He's a liberal. I mean, this is what he does.
I've been a registered Republican since 1969. And I don't think I'm a greenie. I'm a conservationist.
And it wasn't just Brooks and Campbell whose conclusions were dismissed by the BLM. Experts from the Fish and Wildlife Service also warned, among other things, that these changes could have profound impacts on wildlife resources. Those comments never made it into the final report. Another federal agency, the EPA, also warned the BLM. Like Bill Brooks, the EPA raised concerns about the potential for degradation of water quality.
In my 30 years with the federal government, this is the worst administration I've seen for squashing science and rewriting it at will.
About a year ago, February, scientists from across the country were alerting us that they were concerned about the abuse of science in a number of key federal agencies.
Kevin Knobloch is the president of the Union of Concerned Scientists, an advocacy group that has been monitoring what it calls the misuse of science by the Bush administration.
Scientists in the federal agencies who are supported by our tax dollars are among the best in the world, doing the best science that they can do. As that science comes up the chain to the political appointees in a number of these agencies, it is being rewritten and altered.
This administration is impeding the flow of honest scientific communication.
Rick Piltz says he's seen it firsthand. For the past decade, he's edited reports on global warming for the U.S. Climate Change Science Program.
Through suppressing information, through distorting information, this administration is misinforming the public about the nature of the climate change problem. The science is great, but they don't use it. They'll point to how much money they spend on it, but when it gives them a message that doesn't fit with their political preconceptions, they turn away from it.
Piltz says the administration would alter government reports when scientific findings didn't conform to the White House position on climate change.
If the document was already out, they would suppress further references to it. If it had to go through them, they would manipulate it. If they didn't like what it said, they would ignore it.
Piltz says that Cooney's changes on behalf of the White House were part of a pattern to exaggerate the uncertainty about global warming and its impacts. For example, Piltz cites this draft of a 2003 report to Congress. The original version says, The Earth is undergoing a period of relatively rapid change. Cooney changes it to a more tentative, maybe undergoing a period of rapid change.
So this relatively innocuous looking at it change, you're saying, is a really big deal.
It is when you do it over and over and over again on all communications about the issue.
Which is what Pilt said happened in report after report.
He's crossed out shown that, crossed out confirmed that. He's crossed out demonstrated changes.
And then there's this draft of another report to Congress. Text written by the science program says warming will also cause reductions in mountain glaciers, and goes on. Cooney crosses it all out.
It's deleted with the comment, straying from research strategy into speculative findings and musings here. Well, what is an oil industry lobbyist doing coming in on a science program document and taking out stuff that is being taken out, to me, it seems, because it conveys a way of talking and thinking about the subject that just doesn't suit the White House politically.
He is a non-scientist, and he was not simply editing a policy statement, he was going in and altering the conclusions of scientific analysis to mean something quite different than what the scientists meant to say.
Does this topic of science meets politics catch your interest? If so, you might want to apply for some consulting work over at the Environmental Protection Agency. The New York Times got a hold of an EPA proposal to hire outside PR experts. The job, in part, to edit and ghostwrite, quote, good stories about EPA research in both scholarly journals and popular magazines. $5 million over 5 years is on offer. The EPA says it's about making info accessible to the public. The Harper's Index in Harper's Magazine recently mentioned the amount the Bush administration spends on these kinds of outside PR contracts. Answer, more than $62 million per year. That's almost twice the amount spent per year during the second Clinton administration.